Hello and welcome to the MMA Live Chat Show. I'm Rich Davie and it's Tuesday, May 13th, 2014, 3 days after the UFC Fight Night Brown vs. Silva event. On today's show, we'll discuss the UFC Fight Night Brown vs. Silva event and our predictions that we made for the main card. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to keep the show real brief, and then Wednesday we're going to make another show out of what we would normally do in the Final Thoughts segment. On today's show, we have yours truly and Damon Gazelle. Thanks for taking part in another show, buddy. I appreciate you taking time to be here and joining me to discuss the UFC Fight Night Brown vs. Silva event and our predictions that you and I made. Go ahead and say hello to anybody that might be listening, buddy.
Thanks for having me, Rich. Thanks for everybody that watches this.
Okay, buddy. Thanks again for being here. All right, let's jump right into this here. The UFC Fight Night Brown vs. Silva event. It took place this past Saturday, May 10th, 2014 at the U.S. Bank Arena in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it aired on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2. And man, did we get our asses handed to us on this night of predictions, but with such a fantastic night of fights, you really can't complain all that much. This is why I have that saying that I have on my signature on the forum there. Even when I'm 100% certain of a fight outcome, I'm only 75% sure, and of that, there's only a 50-50 shot that I'm right, and that turned out to be one of the cases on that last event there. We both had a dreadful night of predictions on this main card, but it was an exciting night of fights, and so it was more worth it than predicting the right outcomes for me. I mean, 6 fights ended by KO or TKO and 6 by decision. We didn't make the same predictions, but we both went 2-4 with 17 points out of 50. So for you and me, that was our worst set of predictions to date for, as I said, you and I, but not the worst set of predictions that we've seen on the prediction shows that we've done in the past with some of the other guys. So at least that's some sort of consolation for us.
And plus there are a lot of upsets, so.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there were some upsets on that one. All right, so real quickly here, I'm just going to breeze over each one of these. We're not going to do much discussion on this. Matt Brown versus Eric Silva, number 7 UFC ranked fighter, number 14 UFC ranked fighter. I thought this was a great fight, and clearly, man, this was a contender for Fight of the Year, in my opinion. Matt Brown defeats Eric Silva by TKO due to strikes in round 3 at 2:11. I know you weren't real happy with Silva's performance in this one because he didn't seize the opportunity to take the win a few times when he hurt Brown with those liver kicks and body shots. So, what are your comments on this one, real quick?
Yeah, to me, I don't see it as a candidate for Fight of the Year. I mean, pretty much, it was Matt Brown beating up on Eric Silva after round 1. Even Matt Brown said after the fight that he was so glad that Eric Silva started punching him to the face instead of the body in the first when he had gotten hurt.
Yeah, he actually said that was part of his strategy after he got hurt, right?
Yeah, to let him to take some shots, and that is the main reason why I was so mad about the fight. I didn't care who won, but it showed me that Eric Silva really does not have the fight sense to be a top fighter, because
well, give him the credit too, because even after the fight, I don't know if you saw the tweets today or the posting on Facebook, but he said, well, in that fight I learned a lesson. I learned that I should not be fighting top 5 guys in the UFC, so give him credit for that too.
Yeah, I mean, but when you get somebody hurt in a certain area, you keep going after that area. You don't switch it up. It's like if you're chopping down a tree and you've almost got it chopped down. Do you start a new notch? Not on the backside, like you really. I guess you can't really. Bad analogy, but you finish the job, and he didn't do that, and that's why I was disappointed. Buddy of mine.
I actually thought he was going to finish it several times, because within the first 30 seconds of round 1, man, he did hurt him, and I thought he said that he had some sort of an injury or he got some sort of a groin strike that, maybe that was his excuse or whatever for not finishing. But man, within that first 30 seconds, not only in round 1 but in round 2, it was the same thing. Boom, boom, and then he just failed to capitalize. So.
Yeah, he pretty much just stood there and let himself get punched. I thought it was a horrible. I thought it was a horrible fight. I don't know. I don't know if he didn't see him coming. I know he had gassed out, trying to go the head on Matt Brown in the first. But man, like somebody had a buddy I know from the forums from the UFC Undisputed. I tweeted him about it, and he's like, well, Silva is the Brazilian Melvin Gillard, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
I mean,
I had somebody laugh at me for making that comment in one of the groups that I belong to on Facebook or whatever. Um, but I thought it was a great fight. I thought it was really exciting, man. I mean, that first round was, geez, that was, I don't know, man, that was
I
fantastic.
mean, it was exciting for Matt Brown to withstand that initial onslaught, but after that, the fight really went downhill. I mean, Silva really only hurt him one more time, and that was with another body shot that he didn't
No, and then he
capitalize on
also hurt him with,
again.
well, he also hurt him not only with another kick to the body, a liver shot, but he also hurt him with a couple of strikes to the body with his hands as
Yeah,
well.
that
So,
that was the one. It was like in the second, and he
yeah.
hit him in the body, and he didn't capitalize on it again.
Yeah, so my question to you is this. Has Eric Silva exposed a chink in Matt Brown's armor? Because now everybody saw that over and again in that fight that hit him in the body, and you might have a shot at taking him out if you can follow through.
Yeah, I think he did. That's two times in a fight, but the first one was a good shot, and I mean he could have still been feeling that when he got punched there the second time and got hurt. I mean, anybody that gets a liver shot is,
Yeah,
that's not going to feel good the rest of the fight. So I mean that's kind of one of those things that it's anybody that gets hit there, it's a soft spot. So I don't think it's really a chink in his armor, other than maybe not being able to defend against it better. But
still,
other
it's a weakness. I think we're going to see in his next fight, he's going to be targeted in the midsection there, either by kicks or strikes. So,
everybody has that weakness, though.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
But I'm just saying, I'm
you
just
get a shot in the liver, and you're not going to be feeling too good.
No. I'm just saying, if somebody can, replicate that and get through and manage to follow through after
Yeah.
delivering those strikes, I think we're going to see Brown finished in one of his upcoming fights here. I guess that fight actually did, in fact, prove that Matt Brown should have been ranked number 7, and Eric Silva should have been ranked number 14, despite what DFW was saying about Eric Silva. Eric Silva was being touted and praised by DFW, and he seemed to think that Eric Silva should be ranked probably in the top 10. But now, with the outcome of that fight there, where do you think realistically he goes from there? Does he stay in the 14 slot, or what happens to him?
I'd drop him out of the top 15. Dude's off my radar. I used to love watching him fight, but a fighter, you can be an exciting fighter, but if you have no fight sense, if you can't capitalize and you keep getting this win loss, it's so sad to see a guy with such talent not be able to put it together.
Yeah, he said he's actually going to go back to the drawing board and rework his whole camp next time for his next fight. So
If he gets a couple of wins in a row, I might get on his bandwagon again. But after that, I'm sitting there watching the fight, and I'm like, dude, go the body, go the body, go the body.
I was like I told you on the forum there. I was, as soon as I saw that body strike and he went to the ground, I was like, shit, this is over. And I actually started typing up so I could post, shit, it's already over. 30 seconds in.
That's what I thought too. But then I seen him start going the head, and I'm like, dude, Matt Brown's got a pretty good chin. I mean,
yeah, and then I even said to myself, oh shit, I'm going to get my submission prediction correct,
yeah. Yeah, fucking, it was crazy. I was pissed, but it was more the fact that Silva didn't capitalize on an injury that he had done to another fighter.
Right.
You injure a guy, you go after that injury.
Yeah, you got to go and finish it off, man. You can't just sit back and. But again, he might have been hurt. We don't know. And again, looking at Matt Brown, ranked number 7, he couldn't finish him as quick as most people would have thought, because I saw a lot of people were predicting Matt Brown to get the KO in 1.
Silva was running away quite a bit.
Yeah, but where does this leave Matt Brown now? Because now he's saying he wants to fight Hendricks for the title, and DFW is saying something big is going to happen for Brown next time.
I think he's going to get maybe not a title shot, but he's definitely. It is possible. It depends on when Hendricks comes back, because Matt Brown is on a 7-fight winning streak.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the argument that a lot of people are making. When you're on a 7-fight winning streak, you should get a shot at the title. But again, is it right for him to leapfrog over those other 5 guys in the division, or you know?
I mean,
He's only
kind of.
fighting number 14 ranked guy. Is it fair that he jumps up and goes to the front of the pack for beating a number 14 ranked fella?
Yeah, but Eric Silva is. I mean, he was a fighter that he just finished his last opponent real quick in the first round. I mean,
Yeah.
when the guy is on, he's on.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he should leapfrog the guys. It's still so far out that I think Matt Brown needs maybe a title contention fight. But
I'm going to say give him 2 or 3, whoever that might be, when that arises for the next fight there. But I don't think you should get a shot at the title straight away for beating a number 14 ranked fighter. But I love Matt Brown, love Eric Silva, like both of the guys. But Eric Silva just couldn't perform the way that most people were expecting him, who were picking him to win this. And Matt Brown, again, love the guy. I'm glad that he won. 7 in a row. He's threatening. Whose title is it? I mean, whose record is it he's threatening now with those 7 wins in a row?
I forget. There's like 4 guys that have 7 in a row.
Yeah.
I think the only one that has a higher record of straight wins right now is like John Jones and Aldo.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I thought it was a great fight. I know you and I don't agree on that, but let me just recap here how we did on our picks. You chose Silva by TKO and 2, 0 points. I went with Silva by sub and 2, 0 points. But I thought it was a great fight nonetheless. Oh, yeah, one more thing I did want to mention about that. In the post-fight threads that were coming up on the internet, a lot of people were saying that Eric Silva was so banged up after the fight that he had to actually be carried out of the octagon after Brown had left the octagon, and he was carried out on a stretcher to the hospital. And there were, reports initially that were saying that he might have suffered a concussion and a broken jaw. The post-fight checkup at the hospital, for anybody who hasn't heard, put those rumors to rest. And it appears that after his visit to the hospital, neither of those rumors are true. So good to see that he's not actually hurt and will be out for a long time. But he was, I do believe, both of them are under suspension for 60 days.
Yeah, medical suspension. And
I would actually like to see Brown fight maybe Lombard, Woodley maybe.
I would think the winner of Ellenberger versus Lawler. I mean, that would be a good.
Yeah, I think that's what we should see next. So both of you and I agree on that, at least, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure he'd win it. Like you said, the body strikes. I mean, if Lawler wins against Ellenberger, we might see Lawler going to the body and making quick work of him.
And you're correct. My notes here that I'm reading here, it says the only fighters in the UFC with more wins in a row than Brown right now are both UFC champions, Henan Barral and John Jones. So you're correct on that.
No, I said Aldo. Aldo doesn't have 7 fights in the UFC. So I don't get that. Does Barral have 7 fights in the UFC?
I don't think he does he?
I don't think he does either. And Aldo hasn't. Aldo,
okay.
Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah, let's move on to the next one here. Larkin versus Costa Philippou, the number 20 ranked and 12 ranked UFC fighters. I honestly thought this one would at least make it out of round 1, but that it wouldn't be a powerbomb sort of a fight. But man, was I wrong there? These 2 guys just went at it with each other and were throwing some heavy shit. What do you think about that one?
Actually, that one we had a huge storm come through at the time, and it was funny too because my brother was like, "Okay, Storm, do your thing now," and he. As soon as he said that, all the power went out. I'm like, holy shit.
Well, for those who don't know, Costa Philippou defeated Larkin by...
Yeah, I did get to see the fight.
Knockout 2 punches in round 1 at 347. And also, for people who didn't know, Philippou was actually on the verge of retirement prior to this event, but his coaches told him to put on his big boy pants and go and do a fight.
I mean, he's not like a major veteran thing, but you know, age 34. I mean, you're really gonna retire that young? I
Well, I
mean,
guess, you know, in his head there, he had 2 losses in a row, and, you know, he got knocked out badly in his last fight prior to this event, didn't he?
yeah, against Rockhold, but I
Yeah.
mean,
But that was the impetus, I guess, for him thinking retirement. But it was good to see, you know, he came back and fought and won.
yeah.
All right,
I
let me
mean,
just recap that really quick here. You went with Philippou by TKO in 2, 7 points for you. I went with Larkin by decision, and I got 0 points. Any other comments on that real quick?
when I did get to see it, it was a sweet knockout, TKO, whatever you see knockouts that they call TKOs too, so it's hard to tell what I forget what they classified it as, but you know, his striking, Costas Philippou has some hands. He just, you know, he he doesn't always get them off, but when he does get them off, he's an exciting fighter. I like watching the guy. I hope you're wrong about him actually talking about retirement. I mean, the guy's only 34.
Well, he changed his mind now. He said, you know, now that he's got the win, you know, he's glad that he was talked out of it.
Yeah, those losses are some good guys.
Yeah. Okay, and let's move on to the next one here. Another great, impressive fight there. A lot of people doubted Darren Cruickshank. He went up against Eric Koch, the number 42, and the number 38 ranked fighters. And again, Koch is how they say Eric's name up in New York. His real name is pronounced Koch, but if it was pronounced in German the way that it should be, it would be Koch. So we've got our choice of how we want to pronounce that name, but I guess the general sentiment is let's go with Koch.
Yeah, Coco work.
Yeah, so that was an impressive one there. That was
Yeah, I was totally surprised, but that just goes to show you never know what to expect from Cruickshank. I mean, that's exactly follow through. I mean,
yeah. Well, so people know Cruickshank won by TKO due to strikes in round 1 at 3:21. So very, very DFW loved that. Was very impressed with that finish.
I was too. I was not expecting that last kick that actually hit Koch in the head. I mean, you know, you've seen the combo he threw, and then all of a sudden he comes over with a head kick too, and it's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
it
You
landed.
know who else was very impressed with that?
Probably Koch.
Yeah, not only did I get this one wrong, but so did the majority of fans and oddsmakers. He looked awesome in that fight there, and big praise for Cruickshank at the post-fight presser. And Cruickshank will be getting a much higher-ranked opponent in his next fight. I believe DFW said that Cruickshank moves up to the next level with his next fight. And even our old buddy Alex tweeted out to us after the event, boy, was I really wrong about Cruickshank.
Well, I just thought I didn't think Cruickshank was going to be able to take on Koch and win, but you know,
I actually wanted to go with Cruickshank, as I said on the prediction show, but
well, I liked his last fight. I just
yeah,
I
I was
thought maybe
swayed
he
by the
might be one.
oddsmakers and the fans because man, it was overwhelming, you know, by fans going with Koch, and I let that sway me a little bit. And then when I was looking at the odds too, I was like, yeah, well, yeah, I mean that's a pretty decent, you know, favorite by odds makers there. So that kind of swayed me, but I should have went with my heart on that one.
Yeah, well, Cruickshank isn't as well a rounded fighter, and that's why a lot of people were picking Koch, whatever you want to say. That's why they were picking him, is because Cruickshank isn't really as well rounded, and you know, I guess you know it really you don't have to be all that well rounded if you can knock guys out.
Hmm.
I
So
mean,
he's ranked actually number 42. That's not even UFC rankings because UFC rankings don't go that high.
mhm.
But man, DFW was so impressed. I wonder what he means by saying he's going to go up to the next level. Does that mean he gets a top 10 guy?
I would think top 15 at least,
Yeah,
maybe.
at least.
I mean, he looks impressive when he fights. I mean, It just, I think the main thing a lot of people remember from Tough though was I don't think he has really good wrestling. And wrestling is so dominant in the UFC. Cruickshank is mainly that karate style fighter. What what is he? I forget. He's like a black belt or something. I don't know. But he's he's one of those guys that a lot of people don't think you know he's actually very well rounded, and I think that's where a lot of people why they vote or don't pick him.
Yeah, I really like the guy because he not only, is a good fighter, but he also seems like a genuinely nice kind of person as well. And I love those kind of fighters, man. I love people
Yeah.
who are, real
Oh
down to earth and cool and respectful and, give props to their opponent. And he's a real nice guy in that regard.
yeah, dude, I love the way he finished that fight. I mean, I was not expecting that last head kick.
Okay, and let's wrap this one up here. You went with Koch by decision, 0 points. I went with Koch by 7-2, 0 points. So we didn't do all that great on that one, but again, congrats to Darren Cruickshank. Glad to see that you got the win and you're getting some respect, and DFW is going to move you up to the next level. Okay, let's move on to the next one here. Neil Magny versus Tim Means, the number 68 ranked fighter versus the number 115 ranked fighter. Neil Magny defeats Tim Means by unanimous decision with the judges' scorecards reading 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27. And what were your comments on this one here? Because I know we both thought Means was going to win this one.
I mean, it was a close fight. I thought it could have gone either way. Magny didn't really do too terribly much. I mean, I guess the wrestling was what won him. And, it was a good fight. But yeah, I thought it was closer than, especially did more in a 30-27.
Yeah, I don't think that was warranted, that score. I think
yeah.
I actually had scored at 29-28 for Magny myself. I don't recall exactly, but I think that's the way I scored it when we were scoring live.
Yeah, it was a good fight. I mean, but it could have gone other way. I thought either way. I didn't think. I think Magny was actually in trouble a couple of times. But a lot of times the significant strikes and stuff like that actually aren't counted the way I feel they should be. But
Yeah, I agree. It's so difficult to understand how they, tally that and how they determine what's significant and what's a regular strike.
yeah,
It's so hard. And again, I even stopped looking at the numbers for punches and strikes in the fights because they don't make sense anymore.
no, they don't. I mean, when you got guys hurt and stuff like that, and somebody jabs you or hits you with leg kicks and still wins that round, and they're small leg kicks, and it's like, really? But it is what it is. I mean, they've got the rules that they're supposed to go by.
I mean, I prefer that method of scoring as opposed to the pride method where you score the whole fight as opposed to round by round, because is it really fair if you have a 5-round fight and one guy beats the hell out of a guy for 4 rounds and then in the 5th round the guy gets the better of him and does more damage and then he gets the win? I mean, so that's why I'm not really down with the pride rules, because I've seen some people after that one was over start saying that, oh, well, we should score by pride rules. That's kind of fucking silly to me.
Nah, I like the round by round thing,
Me
but
too.
I want the whole significant strike thing relooked at, because it, you know, like with the Jones fight, he had so many significant strikes. I don't really think a lot of them were significant. They didn't seem to do damage, and that's what I consider significant, is a punch doing damage.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap that one up here. You went with Means by decision, 10 point. Oh no, that was a 0.
0 point. Yeah.
And I went with Means by KO and 2, 0 points from me. So man, we were shitting the bed on this event, huh?
Yep. I'm glad that my prediction on getting a lot of decisions was wrong. So
It was half and half.
yeah, but
All right,
you
let's move on to the
love.
next one there. Soa Palelei versus Ruan Potts, number 20 ranked fighter versus number 77 ranked heavyweight fighter. Soa Palelei defeats Ruan Potts by knockout due to punches in round one at 220. And man, oh man, uh, that was something. The way that he landed that left when he was on the ground, it just knocked Potts out and hit him with a couple of more strikes there. It's like, holy shit. And it didn't even seem like it was that big of a power punch. And
Yeah.
boom, he hit him
I,
with that, and man, he was out.
Yeah, I don't think he actually knew he had him out until like the last punch. I think the last punch was a cheap one.
Yeah, the ref didn't know it either.
Yeah, but when me and my brother were watching, I was like, man, that little punch just knocked that dude out.
Yeah.
He's like, really? He's
So
like,
that tells us one or two things. So Palele is even more powerful than many people think he is, or Ruin Potts just cannot take a shot.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of fighters that can generate a lot of power in a short distance.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, it could have just caught him just right, but man, it was. I was surprised too, though. But they are heavyweights to see that short of a punch actually knock the guy out. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
thought Potts would be able to make it into at least the second round there, and as I said in the pre-fight show where we did our predictions, I thought he was, clearly outmatched, and actually you did better on the prediction on this one than I did because I rarely pick a first round finish. But you actually went with Palele by TKO and won, 10 points for you. I went with Palele by TKO or by KO and two, and I got 7 points. So I actually thought it would go a little bit longer, but man, that was a kind of shocking the way that he finished him there and early on in round one there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he did go at. He threw one more strike after he knew the guy was out, and you never want to see that, especially with heavyweights. I mean, come on, dude.
Exactly.
Don't do that shit. I mean,
Unless,
you
of course, it's Michael Bisping, and it's understandable.
gotta. I still don't even Bisbing. Uh, no fighter. I mean, if a guy's out, don't hit him again. You know,
No, I agree.
restrain
I was
yourself.
just fucking around there.
Yeah, I hear you too. But even like the when Josh Koscheck, got sucker punched by Paul Daly, I was like, man, Josh Koscheck should really press charges against that
Yeah,
bastard.
that was criminal. It really was. But now
Yeah.
we sound like liberals, don't we?
But I mean, come on, on that one, the dude punched him after the fight was over.
Yeah.
The
When he
sanction.
was standing there, not even expecting it.
Yeah. But when your fighter is knocked out, I mean, dude, don't try and land another shot. That one extra shot could end somebody's career or seriously injure them.
Yeah.
Take your win, be happy.
Well, that earned him his pink slip in the UFC and barred from the UFC for that, wasn't
Who? Oh yeah, Paul Daly.
he? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He's making a comeback somewhere else. I heard that he was going to retire, but I heard he just came back and fought somebody else. But we'll get into that on another show. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Chris Cariaso versus Louis Smolka, the number 10 UFC ranked fighter versus the number 17 ranked fighter. Chris Cariaso defeats Louis Smolka by split decision with the judges' scorecards reading 29-28, 28-29, and 29-28. Comments on this one, buddy?
I mean, it wasn't the most exciting fight, but if you look at the fight, I mean, it could have gone to Smolka. I mean, the guy had control for almost 8 minutes of the fight. Um, he didn't do enough to win it.
Yeah,
It
like I
was
said,
one of those. It was one of those ones where I was wondering who they were actually gonna pick. I guess Cariaso, he's a good fighter. But it was one of those fights that you kind of wish there was more that happened in the fight. Uh, but it is what it is, and well, Smolka got his first loss, so hopefully he'll learn from it and come back and actually do more next time.
Yeah, I think I made a comment in the pre-fight prediction show there that I thought it was going to be Cariaso's experience that was going to give him the victory in this one here, and apparently that was the way that it did unfold there because, like you're saying, Smolka just couldn't do enough to get those extra points that he needed from the judges.
Yeah, and it didn't look like he was trying to. It looked more like he was trying to just control him and not really go for the shots as much. I mean, he was doing shots, but he wasn't really scoring the whole time. When you've got 8 minutes of control in a fight, you would think you would win that fight.
Yep. Okay, we're wrapping this whole thing up again here. We didn't do any picks on the undercard. We're not going to speak about any of that. But again, recapping how we did here, Damon went 2-4 with 17 points out of 50, and I also went 2-4 with 17 points out of 50. So great night of fights. A little bit of an upset for us as far as making our picks. I've never done that bad before. But again, like you said earlier, there are quite a few upsets in this event.
Yeah, you got to mention Eddie Wineland getting knocked out by Johnny
yes.
Eduardo.
Yeah,
I mean, that knockout. Me and my brother were. You never want to laugh at a guy, but that one shot and the way that Wineland stumbled afterwards, it was like, holy cow.
I think I actually missed that one. That one was over rather quickly, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was over. I believe it was I think it was in the first. No, yeah, it was in the first. But it was just the initial rocking before the knockout, and Wineland did some like stumble, like a drunk stumble after it, and yeah, I was really surprised. Coming to find out, though, Johnny Eduardo threw his mouthpiece out into the crowd after.
Yeah, he got fined for that.
He got a 30-day suspension.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I guess in Ohio, throwing your mouthpiece out in the crowd is unsportsmanlike conduct, and he was suspended for 30 days.
Which is really nothing at all when you look at it.
No, because that would be.
That's just a suspension from fighting, not a suspension from training or anything, right?
I believe so. And I don't think it's actually a UFC suspension. I think it is an Ohio Athletic State Commission suspension, which usually the UFC will follow. They'll say, all right, 30 days, you got your 30 days.
And the good note on that, yeah, he got that suspension, but at least he got a performance bonus of the night and got 50 grand for that knockout over Eddie Wineland in round 1 at 437. And also, fight of the night went to Brown versus Silva. They got 50,000 each. And then Matt Brown also got another 50,000 for his TKO win over Silva at 211 in round 3 there. So good for those fellas there.
And Silva's probably going to need it for getting back into shape after that.
No.
I mean, I personally, I didn't think it was all that exciting because it was, other than the fact that Silva had rocked Brown, but after that, pretty much, it was nothing but Matt Brown just putting leather on Silva's face. And
yeah, I guess when you look at it that way, yeah, I see your point there, but I still thought it was a great fight. But one more question for you before we wrap things up here. Mm-hmm. Overall, on the event, on a scale of 1 to 10, how did you rate it?
Another good event, man. I would go 8 again with it. I mean, they've been putting together some good events.
Yeah, I like that one too. I thought it was an 8 or a 9 myself too, and I believe that we were saying initially that we weren't really all that impressed with the lineup on the card there, but man, it turned out to be another great one when you're looking at what you weren't really anticipating to be a great card. It was a great card again.
Well, what we were saying is we weren't really saying that we didn't think it was going to be a great card. It's hard to predict cards like that because we don't know the fighters.
Exactly.
It's not like I had said in the previous show. It's not the fighters, it's the fights, and the fights make the event, and they made that event.
Yeah, man. I thought it was a great event. Okay, buddy, let's wrap it up here. We're not going to do the final thoughts. What we're going to do is on Wednesday, we're going to do a show with the final thoughts that I had prepared for this show. So on Wednesday, we'll be back again. We'll do multiple topics, lots of news out there in the MMA world that we want to cover. And I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, buddy. I'll see you next time.
All right, Rich, you have a good one. And anybody that wants to join us, make sure and check out the links in the video.
All right. All right, buddy. Thanks for promoting the show. I appreciate that.
You have a good one, Rich.
All right, you too, man. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.